Hey guys, what's up? This is the Purpose-Filled Kitchen and this is Scott from the Elevated Bear. Scott, what's up?
I'm so excited. We're going to be making the second elevated non-alcoholic beverage I ever created.
Ha! You guys ready for that? I'm going to make sure to link all that below too so that you can make sure you get the recipe, connect with Scott because this is a great movement. And I'm going to let you know a little bit more as we dig in. So Scott, tell us about you. What are we making? What are we doing?
Yeah, so I don't make mocktails. I make something called E-NABs, elevated non-alcoholic beverages. And nothing against mocktails, you know, and I think people should use the terms that they're most comfortable with. But for me, there's just something a little bit more elevated about what we're doing here, and we're not mocking anything. So what we're doing today is using all food-based ingredients, very culinary beverage experience. We're not using any non-alcoholic spirits, and we're not mimicking an existing drink like a mojito, like a virgin mojito, or a margarita.
Thank you, because I don't drink. And I just went out to dinner with my hubby, and he had a hibiscus margarita, and I had to order a virgin margarita hibiscus in order to, and it just didn't taste the same.
No, and here's the thing. You know, when you take out alcohol and then you don't replace it with something, to me that's like saying, you know what, I think I'm gonna make marinara tonight. I don't have tomatoes, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Exactly.
That's not marinara
Right. Exactly right. And it did. It did just taste like juice and water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna be making an E-NAB, and as I mentioned, this is the second drink I made, but this is not the version of it because when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing, and all I knew is that I wanted something adult, something elevated. Didn't taste like soda water, didn't taste like soda, or worse yet, like something that you would serve at a bar mitzvah or a sweet 16 or a confirmation party.
Yeah. That's why I'm excited to talk to you, because I want to know, when we dig in after the recipe, I want to know a little bit more about you, why you're doing this. And you know, as you know, I'm a chef, and this really intrigued me when I saw you talking. And so I got to get into it. So we got to go. What are these?
Yeah, so I went ahead and made everything fresh today. So what you have in front of you here is, this is cold brew green tea.
Ooh, I love that.
And I choose to cold brew my teas. Have you ever cold brewed tea before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
it's smoother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's smoother. It's not as harsh. It does take 8 hours in the fridge, so you've got to be a little prepared. If you were in a pickle and you were like, I forgot to cold brew the tea, you could still hot brew it and then just like let it cool down or put it in an ice bath if you were like in a rush. This is lemon juice, Sicilian volcanic lemon juice. And then this is honey syrup.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of drinks, you know, we use simple syrup, but there are so many other syrups you can use. You can use honey syrup, you can use maple syrup, you can use agave syrup, you know, it's kind of endless. So in this drink, we're using honey syrup, and then of course the last thing we got is our HEB bubble water, but you can use any brand that you want. You could also use Topo Chico if you want to.
We're in Texas, so we love our HEB.
Doing the HEB.
Yeah.
And then over here is our garnish, which is fresh organic sprig of thyme.
Beautiful.
And the name of this drink is called Thyme for Summer.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, but not Thyme. Right. So, yeah, so let's get started.
Let's go. Yeah.
So a couple things I want to mention is, you see some bar tools here. You don't need any special tools to make drinks. So please don't feel like you have to run out and get anything. These are jiggers. The top is 1 ounce, the bottom is a ½ ounce. But you could go ahead and use tablespoons. That works totally fine. Just check your measurements ahead of time. This is a cocktail spoon. I have like 20 of these at home, and sometimes I still can't find one. I just use a butter knife when I can't find it. It works just as well. So you don't need anything special.
That really does sound about right.
Yeah. And then glasses, we're using a Collins glass. So you'll notice, like, you may not have this particular glass at home, but it's, you know, this is like what you'd find in a restaurant.
Right.
It's tall and narrow. And this is about 11½ ounces. So this drink is specified for 11½ ounces to kind of fit in there perfectly. But the main thing is you'd want to make this drink in a long, narrow glass. And that's because we're using a lot of bubbles. And I'll talk more about this later, but a little spoiler alert, when you're using bubbles, you want to go ahead and have a tall, narrow glass. That's why we serve Prosecco, champagne, and flutes now, as opposed to coupe glasses. Because it just makes those bubbles really last longer. So
I love that.
First thing we're going to do is start with ice, and this is just ice. So nothing special. Nothing special.
Syrup
so if you want to go ahead and take 3 ice cubes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And ice is actually, there's a whole book I read on ice. It's amazing, and it's really difficult to make clear ice at home. Not impossible, but really difficult. So, you know, just use regular ice. If you can, filter the water first, you know, just to kind of get it as pure as possible, but ice.
It's true though. I mean, you have your crushed ice, and you know, you have your specialty ices, the one that are cubes or round, or there's so many different things and reasons why they use it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about that later as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off with our jigger, and the first thing we're going to use is our green tea, and we're going to go ahead and use 3.5 ounces of this.
Okay.
So
3 on one side and then 1 on
and
the
half
other.
on the other. Yep.
Beautiful. And if you have a scale at home, just measure it. 3.5 ounces, right?
So these are fluid ounces, not weight ounces. But I'm glad you brought that up, because with the honey syrup, there's your jigger.
Thank you.
With honey syrup, like in a perfect world, you do want to weigh ounces, because honey weighs more than water. So like when you make simple syrup, you go and use like say 5 ounces of sugar and 5 ounces of water. Fluid ounces, you're good to go. Or you know, enough fluid. Yeah, fluid ounces, you're good to go. But with honey, because it weighs so much more,
3.5, right?
yeah, 3.5. You want to go ahead and weigh it. So
I would have just waited. So thank you for telling me.
yeah. You know, but also, like, this doesn't have to be super hard either, you know? It should be enjoyable. And I kind of geek out on all these different things. The next thing we're going to do is add 1/2 ounce of lemon juice to this.
Great.
Now, with lemon juice, you definitely want to do fresh squeezed when you can. You don't want to do lemon juice in a plastic bottle. If you live in a city like Austin, or a place where they have, you know, fresh squeezed juices, that's fine too. You know, and honestly, if you were hosting a party and you were making a lot of drinks, in that instance, I would say probably go buy the fresh squeezed juice, because it's probably going to be more uniform in flavor.
Yeah.
You get one weird lemon, and it's so that can be really handy. But yeah, just pick up a couple lemons, a couple limes.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree on the bottle thing too. It does not taste the same.
No. And
Too
then
much preservatives and stuff in there.
Yeah, and it just in the plastic bottle. Yeah. And then the last thing we're going to do is add 1/2 ounce of honey syrup.
Only 1/2 ounce, huh?
Only 1/2 ounce.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I'm just joking,
if
guys.
you want to add some more later, you can.
I'm just you guys know I love my sugar. That's the issue, right? So
Well,
I
how
love
about we
it.
try it this way, and then we can always add some more.
We're gonna go with what you do.
All right,
Let's
perfect.
go.
And then the last thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and add this. But before we do that, if you
I
want to
was
grab your
just gonna
cocktail
ask
spoon,
you that.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's give it a
Okay.
few stirs. And then if you have a cocktail spoon, one of my favorite things about a cocktail spoon is that if you pour it along the spoon, you see how it's flowing down there? And it's helping to preserve the bubbles.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah. And so,
Smoother.
yeah. Now, if you don't have this spoon, again, not a big deal. Don't worry about it. You can go ahead and just pour it.
Would you tilt your glass?
Yeah, I was going to say you can just pour it down the side of the glass. And then, Chef, we're not measuring this because I know, but we're basically putting in 3¼ ounces. We're leaving basically 1 inch from the top of the glass, and that's called leaving a collar.
Okay.
So you'll notice that when you go to a bar or restaurant, they never fill it to the top, and they don't do that for a lot of reasons. First off, you're just going to waste it, right? It's just going to fall. Yeah, and then we're going to give it a little bit of a stir just to integrate it. We don't want to stir too vigorously because we don't want to upset the bubbles. But there we go. And then we have one last thing we're going to do. And I have 2 different size pieces of thyme. You can decide if you want a bigger piece or a smaller piece.
That's fine.
And we're going to put it right in. Nope, we're not.
That smells good.
You know what we're going to do first?
You're gonna smack it?
We're going to smack it.
That's right.
And it's
Get
not
all the
because,
oil.
yes, it's not because the thyme was bad. It's because we want to release those essential oils from the thyme into the drink.
Right.
And so this is your time for summer.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, so wait. Yeah, I was going to say, you did the right thing. Yeah, so I always encourage everyone to smell the drink first, you know? And
Wow, that thyme smells amazing in
yeah,
there.
are you noticing anything beyond the thyme, or is the thyme just kind of overpowering you?
The thyme is overpowering right now, but I
feel like I'm-
smell like a little citrus too, right?
Yeah, there should be getting a little bit of lemon, but I'm noticing a little bit of the honey.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, initially, it's the thyme because that oil's releasing, and
Yes.
it's like, hits
So
you.
what really is exciting for me is, are you familiar with neurogastronomy?
Not really.
Okay, so I read this great book on neurogastronomy by Gordon Shepherd, and he talks about how 80% of what we taste actually isn't taste at all. it's retronasal smell, right?
I believe that.
Yeah. And think about it. We've all, we both lived in the Northeast. You get a really nasty head cold, and someone's like, "Do you want some chicken soup?" And you taste it, and you don't taste anything,
Right.
and you're just miserable because you can't smell anything.
Right. That's true.
So scent is so important. But then I read another book. Actually, I read a book first called Cocktail Theory by Dr. Kevin Peterson. And one of the functions of alcohol is to carry scent to your nose.
Yeah.
So when you remove alcohol from a drink, that drink's got to work harder to smell better.
Yeah.
So we're looking for a top note, a middle note, and a base note in all of our drinks. And so for me, it's like top note is definitely the thyme, no doubt about it. For me, the middle note is the honey, and then maybe the citrus at the very end is that base note.
It smells really good.
Yeah.
It smells really good, guys. So
I wish you could smell it.
well, you will. You're going to get this recipe, right?
Yes.
Let's taste. Oh, that's refreshing.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I taste the honey. Yeah, the honey hit me now. That's really delicious.
And are you noticing a little bit of a drying sensation on your tongue?
Yeah,
as well?
a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that from the citrus?
It's from the tea.
Oh, from the green tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So that's the other thing that I learned was that, when you ask people like, oh, what's the function of alcohol? Oh, it's to give us a buzz. Actually, yeah, it does that, but it does 4 things. So I mentioned that it helps carry scent to your nose, but it also creates dryness sometimes, like a dry red wine.
Right.
Or a Prosecco is very dry. It can
But
create...
there's thought behind that, Scott.
Yeah.
You put a lot of thought behind that.
Yeah, there's heat.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll do a drink where I'll make some simple syrup, and then when it's done integrating, I'll put it off to the side and I'll add some habanero peppers to it, just to add a little bit of heat to that. Or if you're allergic to nightshades and you can't eat peppers like that, you can use horseradish or ginger or black pepper. And then it also creates viscosity, so the goal is to find out what are other ingredients you can use that'll add those elements back into the drink.
Yeah.
So that becomes more than like just a one-dimensional drink.
That's so great. I mean, this is so much better than a mocktail. Like I said, I went out with my hubby, and most of you who are non-drinkers, you understand what I'm saying. Like, there's like, oh, you'll have a mojito. I'll have a mojito too, virgin, and it comes to you and it's literally seltzer water with a sprig of mint in it. Yeah, that's what it tastes like. And a lime juice.
It's like a lime mint soda.
Exactly.
That's what it is. It's
right.
lime mint
They might
soda.
as well just say lime mint soda. But when we come back, me and Scott are going to sit down because I really want to get to know this gentleman and what is it exactly that is propelling him to do this. Why do this, right? Because this is taking what we call mocktails to a whole nother level, and I want to know more about that. So we'll be right back. Now we have tried these amazing drinks. We are going to be talking about why. Why? Who is Scott, first of all? Let's start there.
Who is Scott? I am, I'm going to be 54 this month.
Go ahead. Looking all good.
Yeah, and I'll be a 14-year cancer survivor this September.
Oh, that's amazing. Good.
So I'm that. I'm a son, a brother, an uncle, boyfriend. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And an entrepreneur.
And right. Let's not forget that part.
Yeah.
So tell me about your journey. Why are you doing this? What's the reason?
Yeah, I mean, it isn't just one thing. It kind of just all kind of came together cosmically, if you will. But my oncologist didn't want me to drink for a number of years, and I have something called Lynch syndrome, which means I'm genetically predisposed to the kind of cancer that I got. It's the kind of cancer, it's related to the cancer that my father got, and he passed from, his father got and passed from, and his sister got and passed from. And good news, is that my brother doesn't have it, my nephew doesn't have it, so I was the lucky one. And the kind of cancer that I'm susceptible to is fed by alcohol. And not all cancers are, but breast cancer is another one of them that can be fed by alcohol. So
that's good to know. I don't think us as women really know that. They don't really tell us that. We have to research it.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the weird thing about alcohol. It's like the only drug that is socially acceptable to push on somebody.
Yes.
That
and sugar.
Yes.
It's another drug. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, he had been on me to quit drinking, and I was just I didn't want to, honestly. I just didn't want to. And then I ended up developing type 2 diabetes, and as a result of the surgery for the cancer, and I was put on a GLP-1, Mounjaro, and I figured I'd lose weight, but that's not really why I took it. I ended up losing 70 pounds.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then something else happened that I wasn't expecting at all. I just lost all interest in drinking alcohol. And about 30% of people who get on Mounjaro or a GLP-1, they just aren't interested in drinking alcohol. Like you still get a buzz, but you don't get that pleasure that you get from it.
Right.
So, I was dating somebody at the time who really liked craft cocktails, and so I'd still be drinking. But by the end of my drinking career, like all I was really enjoying was Prosecco. And I didn't know why, but I was drinking Prosecco. And then we broke up, and, it was last year in the new year, and I just decided for once and for all, I was just like, I'm just not going to drink anymore. It just costs too much. I don't really enjoy it. And Thursday, March 6th last year, I was out at a bar. I was living in New York, and I was at a bar in the West Village. And at 10:30 at night, I was on my third Diet Coke. And I just kept thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Right. You were like replacing, something had to be replaced.
Right.
Right.
And my choices were either club soda or soda. And, I don't mind drinking a bubble water. I drink it all the time, but not repeatedly all night long, right?
Right.
I needed something with a little bit of flavor. And I was kind of at a dive bar that didn't really have choices.
Right.
And also, if they even had choices, I probably wouldn't have ordered one because I would have been like,
Virgin daiquiri.
Yeah. So I went home that night and I was just really frustrated, and I thought, I can't be the only one. I can't be the only person that, wants to still go out, who is a little bit older, but wants to be engaging and being part of the activities, but I just don't want to drink alcohol. And I thought,
you're not the only one. For
exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
But as I was looking around, I wasn't really seeing anything. So I decided I was going to create the Elevated Bear, and here we go.
Here we are.
Yeah, almost a year old.
And how do you feel about, being an entrepreneur and getting into this? Like, what have you discovered?
So this isn't my first rodeo, so to speak. I'm a kind of a serial entrepreneur.
Okay.
I used to be a massage therapist, and so I had my own massage business, and also had a chair massage business where I'd hire folks to work with me. And then this is going to sound so weird. So then I used to own a pharmacy because one of my partners is a pharmacist.
Oh, nice.
And so we owned a pharmacy here in Austin called Live Oak, won Best New Local Business back in, I think, 2010.
That's so cool.
Is
that still around? Or?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And that's a different podcast episode. But as a result of doing that, I ended up getting a lot of opportunities to speak publicly about how to market your independent pharmacy business.
Oh, wow.
So I started speaking on that, and then I ended up publishing a magazine for 4 years called Pharmacy Marketing Quarterly, and spoke in Australia and throughout the United States.
That's great. So, so entrepreneur is not new to you,
No,
but this is.
But this is, yeah.
Yeah. How has this been going? Are you having fun?
I'm having a blast.
I mean, I bet you are.
I feel like it's really the most creative thing that I've been able to do. I can't really draw. I mean, I like to draw, but I can't really draw. I don't. I like to take photos, but I never really bothered learning how to be a photographer.
Same.
Yeah. And this is like when I mentioned earlier that this is the second drink I ever made, but it's a very different version, because when I first started, I didn't know what to do. There aren't instructions out there on how to make good drinks. There are instructions on how to make cocktails.
Yeah.
They've been around for hundreds of years, but not for E-NABs. So the first version of this was really, it had no tea in it at all. It was basically just bubble water, lemon juice, and simple syrup. And it's kind of basic. But, for me, it was a little bit of a step up, but it was kind of basic. And then I found this book that kind of completely changed my life called Cocktail Theory by Dr. Kevin Peterson. And Kevin Peterson is a mechanical engineer, and he used to own a perfume shop and an experimental cocktail bar in Michigan. And came across this book, and it just never would have imagined in a million years that a mechanical engineer would teach me anything about making drinks. And I learned these 4 different tools that I use now to make these.
That's awesome. Like, how are you feeling about this new wave that's happening with non-alcoholic spirits?
Yeah, so I mean, I use them sometimes, and they're really interesting, but they are also really unique because they're water-based. And I heard someone describe it the other way as basically you're buying whiskey-flavored water. And in a way, they're kind of right.
Yeah. But some of them are pretty good.
Yeah. So, here's the thing that no one is talking about is that, now whiskey drinkers are probably going to get mad at me, but whiskey is whiskey is whiskey. And what I mean by that is there's obviously nuance and flavors, but how you make whiskey is how you make whiskey.
Right.
How you make this version of whiskey alternative opposed to this version versus this version, they're all proprietary recipes. So they're not really swappable. They all have different things that they're trying to do. And so to me, it really comes down to understanding, first off, what that liquid has to offer, and then figuring out the other alternative ingredients to add to it to enhance it. And a lot of them say they're one-to-one replacements for alcohol. I don't really buy that because, again, like we said, alcohol has 4 purposes, and I've yet to see one of those products do all 4. Well, they can't lift scents. They can't. They don't have alcohol in them. But the other 3 ingredient opportunities, I just don't see that really happening. But there are also, to me, what's most exciting, not so much the alternatives to like tequila or to whiskey, but the botanicals. Because they're not trying to be something. There's a great product I love. I talk about them all the time. Parentheses. They're based out of Brooklyn. And
I tried it. It's really good.
They have a before and an after. So it's an aperitif and a digestive, and they're made with fermented seaweed.
Yes, I read that, which I thought was super interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of sip worthy. You could have it on the rocks or neat like you would a whiskey, but it's not trying to be a whiskey. Or you can mix it into other ingredients, and I think that's where the magic happens.
Is Elevated Beer something that you're seeing now with educating these like bars and places where they make drinks, or is it more for like showing the audience like the personal use?
I think it's two-pronged. Ultimately, one feeds in the other, right? The more I can educate the public about what is a really good drink, the more they're going to go back to their establishment saying, this isn't working for me, which hopefully will create an opportunity. My very first client was the Dickens in New York City, cocktail bar and Hell's Kitchen. And a version of this drink is on their menu, along with 4 others that
That's great. That is great.
Yeah, and in July, I'm launching a online class. It's really built for hospitality professionals.
Great.
It'll be 7 weeks online, and every Monday, new modules will drop, and then every Thursday we'll have a Zoom call to talk about what's going on. And I'm really excited because it's going to go through the 4-pillar methodology I've created. It's going to go through the 6 flavor tribes that I've created. It'll go through my methodology for evaluating a drink called VATS. And the best part about it is, like, once you're in for life.
Okay.
So you can take the class as many times as you want.
Great.
And
then they have the live component with you once a week as well, is what you're saying?
For the first 7 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Can you send me that info? I want to make sure they get that.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so doing that, and then I'm working with, trying to work with some of those NA spirits to say, hey, I'd love to help you develop recipes specifically for your product.
That's smart. Very smart.
And I saw a recipe recently where it was a whiskey alternative with blackberries, and those 2 things just don't go together.
Right.
I made the drink. It's not bad, but you're not noticing anything special about that product. And it all comes down to marketing. You want to create products that complement. You want to create recipes that complement your product, so that people go, "This only tastes good when I buy XYZ." Right. So I need to buy more bottles of XYZ.
That's why I haven't purchased any of them, because I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, they say it's an alternative, bitters or alternative whatever, but I'm not sure what to do with it.
So I will say, if you're interested in just dipping your toe in, you can't go wrong with NA bitters, because they're just, the only thing is, like, with bitters, you might do, like, you literally 3 dashes. NA bitters are made in glycerin, so they're just not as powerful. So you're going to use 3 full dropperfuls.
Right.
But those are great to have, carry in your purse. I carry bitters with me all the time, because
really smart,
if they don't have something for me, I can at least order a club soda and add some bitters to it. Or like I occasionally still drink a Diet Coke every now and then, and I'll add chocolate bitters to it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's dropping wisdom over here. I love that. Okay, so where are you seeing the Elevated Beer? Where are you seeing it in the future? What are you seeing?
Yeah, ultimately, I really want to work on this cohort that I mentioned, the 7-week cohort.
Yes.
I'm doing the first beta launch in July of this year.
You guys got to join.
The 2nd week in September will be the official launch, and then I'll do it again a 3rd time in the 1st week of February, and it'll kind of run on that cycle every year. So there'll be 3 open enrollment periods. Working on a book as well.
Yay!
Just to help share recipes, but also teach the methodology. So that would be more consumer facing. I've been doing a lot of talking,
Important.
Yeah, we met through Good Work Austin,
Yep.
which is an organization that I'm fully focusing on this year and not working with
they're
any other
a great
nonprofits.
organization.
Just them, yep. And actually on May 31st, I'm teaching a E-NAB lab here in Austin that will benefit Good Work.
Oh,
yeah,
that's really great.
Yeah.
I love that. And so, because you're in a really great space too, right? Because Austin is great, and there's just restaurants and bars everywhere. So it's really about getting the word out there, right? Just letting people know that Elevated Bear is here, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping we're going to be doing. All right, y'all. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, all the things, because especially if you're in Austin, this is like super important, right? Because like I said, even I went out to a really great steak dinner. It was delicious. It was a great place. And I couldn't order anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't order anything. I'm like, do you have any mocktails? They're like, well, we could do it,
That's
and
the problem. We can do,
yeah.
And that's what happened on my birthday last year. I went to the Dickens and I said, can I see your mocktail menu? And they said, well, we don't have one. I said, well, what do you have? And they said, well, what do you like? I said, I don't know. What do you have? Like, what do you like? And I'm like, do I have to make the drink too? Like,
Right.
I feel like I'm doing all the work here. So I ordered something and it was okay. And then I went to the other bartender and was like, oh, I'd like another one of these. And I got another one. It tasted nothing like the first one.
Right.
Right. Could you imagine
There's
doing
no
that with
recipe.
food?
Right.
Could you imagine doing
Exactly.
that with food?
Well, and that's what happens with restaurants who don't have consistency or don't make it because there's no consistency in the menu and the chef in the back is creating whatever. It's the same thing with drinks, right? And so I feel the same way. And now I just don't even order it anymore. I just go, can I have a sparkling water with lemon or something? Because I'm like, I just don't want like grapefruit juice and water.
No.
It just,
Well, and
no thanks.
The biggest part, the bigger problem though, and I don't want to sound condescending, but essentially hospitality is about making people feel welcome.
That's exactly right.
And if right now, alcohol consumption is at a 90-year low.
I know, isn't that
46% of the population does not drink.
I love that.
And 80% of people who do drink also choose not to drink. So it's not just that 46% of the population, but essentially when you don't have quality non-alcoholic beverages on your menu, what you are telling your guests is, you're not welcome here.
Right.
We don't think about you. We don't care. And I know that's not what they mean to say, but that's what they're saying.
But it's not even, they're not even a thought. That's the thing.
Right.
But there's no menu. I mean, maybe one place I've been through in all of Austin where they had a tiny mocktail menu, like 3 drinks at the end of all of the alcoholic beverages. And I'm like, oh, okay, a virgin margarita, a virgin daiquiri, and something they kind of just threw together.
Yeah.
I would love to see you elevate this in their restaurants.
I call that beverage charity.
Right.
Like we thought about you.
We thought about you, right.
I always feel like Oliver Twist, like, please, can I have some more?
That's so good. You know why? Because this takes the reason I even wanted to reach out to you and make sure that this happened is because this is something that I think can make a really big change in the hospitality industry. And for those of you who are in the restaurants or you who are bartenders, my son is a bartender, and I'm always talking to him about, I'm always talking about you, and I'm like, we have to go take Scot's class. We got to go take Scot's class. So he's super interested in taking a class, and that's the reason, because he is a bartender, and he thinks about, how do I add teas to this? How do I add? That's how he always thinks. He just never kind of pushed it the way you're pushing it. And I really would love to see this more on different restaurants.
I would too, and I'm always happy to have a complimentary consultation with a business. It doesn't have to be just here in Austin. I mean, I can work virtually, I can do training online and show. But when I do training, it's not, what I don't do is I don't say, here are 5 recipes. Right. And the reason why I don't do that is, number one, if the team doesn't understand how it works, they're just not invested in it. Right. And they're not sharing it with passion. Right. I want them to understand the system and understand, the physics, the engineering, the perfumery, why this works together. Because then once they learn the system, they don't need me anymore. Right. I don't want to sell a fish. I want to tell people the lesson on how to fish. Yeah. And give them the autonomy. You can bring me in if you have questions, of course. But I'd rather show you how to do it and then see what your brain's going to create, because I'm not a bartender.
Right.
Never went to bartending school. I don't ever pretend to be, you know. I'm a beverage designer.
Right.
And I'm a hospitality consultant.
Right. So we need to start connecting you to all these places. Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I really love everything about the Elevated Bayer. I'm going to make sure to list his information below, but I do want you to tell them where they can kind of like learn more about you, reach out, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we're going to put the links in the comments below, but I have a YouTube channel where I've got some of my older recipes that I've done, but they're going to be working on some new content that's really going to do a deeper dive into what the 4 pillars are, understanding the different flavor tribes, going over, you know, my system for evaluating drinks, really high level information, and that's all going to be free because I want you guys and gals and folks in between to know what's out there and have fun with it. I'm on Instagram and I've got a newsletter where you'll get information there. In fact, when you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get this recipe sent right into your inbox, so you can go ahead and make it. Yeah, and I teach virtual classes that you know, you can take no matter where you are. They do them on a Sunday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, so whatever coast you're on, you can participate. And yeah, I do corporate workshops. I mean, I'm kind of available for a bunch of different things. But the most important thing really is creating spaces that are inclusive and focus on making people feel welcome. And I just think that's something that we really need in the world. We've always needed it, but I think, you know, and I know you talk a lot about, you know, faith, and that's a big part, you know, being hospitable is a huge tenet of faith. And this is one of the ways that I show it.
Yeah, no, and it's a great way to do it. And you just mentioned corporate as well, and I think that is something huge for all of you. I know a lot of you are like CEOs and stuff, and you own companies, and you know, with Straight Talk No Sugar Added, my other podcast, you guys know that's the kind of people that I speak to on that podcast are like more like coaches and things like that. Here's the thing though, in corporate events, there's never mocktails.
No,
there's always sodas. And then there's drinks.
Yes.
You know?
With the free bar.
Right.
And, you know, again, here's the thing. I make drinks for people who don't drink, can't drink, or don't feel like drinking.
Right.
You know, and even I was talking to a company here and they noticed that when they're doing corporate happy hours, that a good portion of people are just grabbing Topo Chico. They're not even, so they're seeing a drop in people even wanting alcohol. And then there's also like that big dilemma of people feeling pressure to drink, to be in the crowd, and not you know, rock the boat.
But how thoughtful would it be for these big organizations to actually have a mocktail, or not mocktail, but an E-NAB? E-NAB. Yeah, and just kind of like help everyone feel welcomed. There's a lot of people, like you said, who can't drink too, right? Like that's a big thing. And it feels awkward if you can't drink and then you're out with friends who are drinking and you're like, how do I do this? I don't really want to drink. I can't drink. Right? And I know that I've even felt odd, like people are like, you're not drinking anymore. I'm like, I stopped drinking like 2 years ago, you know, so I don't want to, you know, and then you have that pressure. So that's why I'm like, all right, I'll take the margarita virgin, please. The terrible margarita with the salt on the rim, and you're like, I'm drinking salty water.
Yeah, no. We all deserve something in our glass that's as unique as we are.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Yeah, thank you.
This was so fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me and Scott. I'm going to make sure to list all of his information below. I want to make sure that you go ahead and connect with him. And if those of you who are watching, I know that I've had a few of you reach out to me because you want me to do an interview with you at your restaurant and everything. Now, this is going to be the guy I'm going to connect you with to make sure that you don't forget about us, okay? Don't forget about us people out here who don't want to drink but still want to have a good time.
Yes.
All right, guys, we love you so much. This is the Purpose-Filled Kitchen. Until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What?